Let's be honest, right? Nobody is scrolling through Instagram thinking, you know what? I need to buy some online coaching. That's literally not the way it is. But a lot of strength coaches are staying stuck because they're thinking like this. You've got on one side people that are making too high promises, and then on the flip side, people that are just selling online coaching. And look, you will stay stuck if you continue to do this. Remember this, that people buy the result, not the delivery. And the more you can make your marketing and message represent this, the more you'll be able to build trust and people will want to be a part of your team. If you want to build a business that gives you time, that has the income, and that has the actual control to be able to bring in leads, nurture them, and convert them into clients, then you need to stop selling sessions and you need to stop thinking about the delivery. But you need to start selling the result and the outcome. When you sell the result, it gives people that vision and understand the system that you do so they know that it works. They can trust you and then they will want to be a part of your team. And in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to get stuck in on the iPad and I'm going to break things down so you can understand exactly how to build your offer, put out from the noise. And look, it's none of that guru bullshit. I'm going to show you exactly what I've done to take my businesses where they are today. And the main focus here is without sacrificing you being a coach. Because look, I've been there and I started managing my team. I started building my business. And before I knew it, I wasn't actually doing the thing that I first started to do, which was coaching. So I'm going to help you build your offer, but stay that passionate coach that you actually are. And this is part 2 of the 6-part mini series of how to build the growth engine. So look, if you haven't already watched video 1, then go and watch it because I want you to get everything out of this and really build everything so that your business is in the place that you want it to be. But if you're first time here, I'm D Maiden. I've been in the fitness industry now for 15 years. I owned a gym for 10 years. I coached over 50 people online at the same time. And I focused on hitting those 10K months whilst running the gym. And on paper, everything looked like it was all going to plan. But actually behind the scenes, I was stressed, I was overworked, and I was trying to compete all around the world in strongman at the same time. The thing that I lacked was the systems, the automations. And I had a big team that I managed and I burnt it all down because it really wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go. But once I then stripped everything back and restarted, I've been able to build a lean system, hit bigger months and bigger profit than I've ever hit before. And I want to show you how simple that actually is to run as a solo entrepreneur. Before we get stuck into this, right, if you're anything like me, where you see all the mentors nowadays with the bullshit strategies, and I want to call them out because when they're saying that Bobby made 30K last month and Sarah's now hit a 50K in 1 week, like this is not actually cash collected. And I want to tell you this because I don't want you to think that you are constantly losing and you're never going to get where these guys are. The mentors do that simply to make them look better. And it's not actually cash collected, but it's revenue. And the money isn't yet in the bank. So let's think about scaling things back and understanding business for what it is. Most coaches are actually struggling to run a business because they're so into the strength side, fitness side, and that's all they know, which is fine. And that's great. But that's why I built the shift, because quite simply, I help you fill that gap so that you're focused on the right things and you actually build your business without looking at all the noise on the outside thinking, I'm never going to get there. But let's dig into the iPad for now then. So as we look at this, we've got ultimately the way that people are seeing things nowadays is there's a lot of people that are inflating things, blowing things up. Okay. And if you look at this here, understanding the way to build your offer is key in the process so you don't make wild claims like this. If you see things like drop £30 in 30 days or we'll pay your child to go to a private school, yes, that's inflated. A little bit of humor for you. But look, if you're seeing this sort of shit or if you're doing this sort of stuff, then stop. Because when you are doing things like this, you are over egging everything. You are losing trust with people. And these are only going to bring in a certain type of person. So think about the claims that you put out there, the offers you put out there. Really think about how you are going to fulfill that thing. And then let's move on to the rules then. So rule number 1. And like I say, if you haven't already, grab a paper and pen because I want you to go through each one of these. So we've got rule number 1 is that you are the brand. Okay. With your brand, everything that you share on social media, on YouTube, email, everything, you are the brand. And the sooner you understand that you are in control of what people see, but also warm to, then the faster you are going to grow a personal brand. Show all of the stuff that you have done. Show where you've been. Show your struggles. Show your wins, and show everything, because nobody can copy your story or your reps. You want to show everything that you are so people become closer to you, trust you, and feel the same as you. And this is a big part that we see in the industry, where a lot of people look up to somebody thinking, I can never be like them. I've always been that person that's been very open, very honest, and actually share every part of me because it is who I am. And I've always been proud of that. Although there was a time that I wasn't proud of it. But when you look at this, most coaches blend in to try and sound like everybody else. But the real win comes when you show people who you are, what you stand for, and how you actually live it. Because when you do that, you don't have to sell. You're not then in a tough place of constantly trying to sell. You actually attract the people who already see themselves in you. And it's a key part of this understanding that when you are constantly showing the best parts and flexing constantly, people will see that to be so far from them that they can't see themselves in your footsteps, which is a huge part of actually building a brand. And then we've got number two, so your effort movement. So we want to get people from a stranger to a customer, a paying client. Now, most coaches are still trying to jump strangers from a reel straight to £1,000 sale. And too often people are thinking about that, making that money, they're thinking about, how do I get them to give me money? How do I get them to join my program? And when you constantly think about that step, other than the other steps in between, you will always feel like you're losing the battle. But then when you do get the quick win because somebody's warm, then you feel great. But your emotions are up and down all the time. But these people wonder why their calendars, always full of time wasters, and they just feel like they're grinding. And then often they'll reflect onto themselves thinking, this isn't working for me, business isn't going my way. But let me explain this. These scenarios, it's like trying to max out your deadlift without actually warming up. You wouldn't be in the gym going straight for 300 kg as a pull, unless you actually are there as a warm-up, but that's crazy. You need to warm up, and it's exactly the same with your audience. You need to warm them up, and you need to get them to the next step. And that is where the growth engine changes everything. And that is exactly why I built this last year. Now, when we look at the typical way that you see things, this is a funnel. And unless you've been living under a rock and don't know what a funnel is quite simply, you put people into the front end of it with a lead magnet or something of value. They give you their email, they go through your email list, and the idea is to get them from stranger to lead to client to case study. Now, there's a few gaps in here that become a problem and people struggle with. And this is the whole reason why for years I've been doing this, but I thought something had to change. And that is exactly why I created the growth engine. Now, with this model, it is all about building from a stranger to a follower, to a lead, to a community member, to a client, and a case study. Now look at these process parts here as opposed to the typical funnel. And the reason this is so much more powerful is because it has more touch points. It is warming people up for longer. It is not desperately trying to get people from a reel to £1,000 payment. You have to remember that people will do the thing they want to do when they see enough of what they need to see. And if they are not seeing enough, then they are not going to do that thing. And just to remind you exactly what this actually is here, we've got the smart ad, which we build into your social media. We then take them to the community, which would be your email list. We then hit them with a power video, a long form video, just like this right now. And then it's the magnetic offer where we get them into your program. But what we've got to remember here, if people are working through all of these things and they're just not ready, then they will keep going round until they are ready. But they wouldn't have started this journey if they're not the right person for you. And that is the key to it. So often people will try to rush the process, they'll stop believing in themselves, and they'll start looking elsewhere to think, how can I do this differently? When actually it's just the reps, the consistency, and the continuous work on building this engine. And that's exactly what we do inside the shift. Then we look at here with each step builds connection and belief. And these are the two things that we need to do, right? We need to connect with our audience and we need to shift their belief so they understand that what we do works and how we operate is the thing that they need. by the time that somebody joins your program, they already know that you are the one for them. And that is the aim with your message and your marketing from the outside. The better your marketing, the less harsh your sale has to be. I see it all the time where people have these crazy DM scripts, and I'm not going to pretend I wasn't somebody that has followed DM scripts before, or sales scripts on a phone, but actually you're just pushing people to buy. And if you're pushing people to buy, that means you haven't converted them prior to the actual sales call. So if you're in that position where you're getting tons of time wasters on your calendar, in your DMs, on Zoom calls, whatever it is, then rethink your marketing, because if your marketing isn't right, then you're not going to be making as many sales on the back end, because you're having to twist their arm to actually get there. And then they're most likely not going to be the right client for you. So then we've got rule number 3, which is the 4 simple P's. It's very simple. We look at one person. So for example, for me, it is strength coaches that are doing 3 to 5K per month that are ready to scale without losing freedom. I went through a stage of working so much that I completely forgot that I had a family and a normal life. And I realized rapidly when shit went downhill and I nearly lost my family, and I realized that I had to change things. So I make it a big focus for me now that I have the freedom. And if you can't build your business around having freedom, then you don't really have a business. Number 2 then is one promise. So when we talk to this one person, we talk about this one promise. And this one promise for me is to build a model that earns 10K per month in 5 hours a day. So for you, think about, what is your promise? This is something that a lot of people skip, or maybe they don't respect how much this actually means to people. But if you don't know what your promise is, then your audience will not know what your promise is. Remember this, people always want to fix a problem. The problem I fix is having a model that doesn't drain your energy it's in only 5 hours a day, but able to still hit 10K. So think about you for your clients. What is your promise? What is the thing that you say that you fix? And then we've got the problem. So with the problem here, it's one problem. So again, what is the one problem that you are fixing? But for me, it's you're doing everything manually, chasing leads and feeling trapped. This is the thing that I know that I was in the position of for quite some time. And I speak to so many coaches that are in this same position where they're constantly thinking they don't know when the next sale is. They're chasing people. They're feeling sleazy, and their ideas and tactics are going different ways because they just don't know what to do. But when you look at this as an area, like the problem that you fix and the problem that you solve needs to be broken down into depth. Do the market research with your audience and your clients that you're currently working with, and really think about what the one problem is. And then finally, we've got the one plan. So for me, it's the growth engine. It's the system that fixes all of the above. Often, especially in the coaching world, I've heard many coaches say that I don't really have a system because I just know how to get people strong, or whatever it is. But I urge you to build a system out of that, because there will be something in there that you do. And we call it a unique mechanism. Mine is the growth engine. It says exactly what it is on the tin. People know it when they hear it. And if I was to say, I'm going to put you through the growth engine, there's models to show you that. And when you start to use visuals and models like that, people really start to buy into you even more. And it's not a trick, it's simply because it has backing and it has something behind it. So look, quite simply, simplicity wins and complexity kills momentum. And this is one of my biggest focuses right now, because I know so many coaches are struggling with the overwhelm of everything that's around them and unable to actually make the steps to get to the next point and the next level within their life and business. So then we've got rule number 4, which is the offer fundamentals. So this is really important, but it's also an area that people think will on its own fix everything else. But that's not the case. The product name is important. For me, I used to run my business coaching name as Launch 7. I changed that not too long ago from recording this video, because I felt like it needed a change. I felt like it needed something different, and I'd built so much more in the back end, and I felt like it needed a new life. So I renamed it The Shift. The shift means more to me and more to the people that I'm working with because of what I'm doing. And again, the name of your program needs to mean something, because mine does exactly that. It shifts you from being a hustling Pete to a high performance business owner. And your name of your program wants to represent the thing that it does, because this is all psychologically part of the build up to exactly what you are working towards. The promise. So it wants to be real. It wants to be measurable. It wants to be no fluff. And mine's 10K months with 5 hours a day. and freedom through the systems. Systems become a big part of it. It's a big part of the day and age that we're in, automations and everything else. But it's about making sure that you have the right systems and you have them straight to the point without having to do the guesswork. And that's exactly what I do with the guys that work with me. With your business, think about exactly what the promise is. Like, is it real, measurable, and no bullshit? Like, and what are they actually getting out of it? Why is it different from the competitors that they can choose from if they want to? And then when it comes to the payment term, so we've got for inside ours, we've got the pay in full and you save money, or we've got the split if you need to. Pretty simple, but the action takers always win. It's quite simply the people that pay up front will always be the ones that are willing to put their neck on the line and give everything from day one. I push people to do that if they can, but if they need to split, it's completely cool. You still get the same results, but they will pay a little bit more. And again, with yours, look at how you position this. Look at what you can do to build that action taking mentality, because that will go a long way when it comes to your overall picture of how well people get on throughout your program. And then we've got the urgency and action taken. So within this, I personally open an enrollment period at the start of every single month. And if you miss it, you have to wait till the next month. And I do this simply because I then know how many people are starting each time. I could put all my energy into them to onboard them, and they all have that sprint focus together. But that's like not a pressure for anyone. It's literally just protecting the quality of what I do as I go through. You can run this perfectly fine in a strength and conditioning, strength and fitness, whatever type of business that you run. It is just about guiding your content in so that you've got 3 weeks worth of build up and 1 week worth of launch. And that's where you focus all your energy to take everybody on. But again, you need the right systems in place. You need the right frameworks ready to go so that you can work from your calendar and do that every single month. And then we've got the bonuses. So everything inside the shift actually moves the needle. We've got templates, system vault, we've got mindset sessions. They have unlimited one-to-ones, like for whenever they need direction. Something I do with my guys is I say, look, you've got a 15-minute one-to-one call with me whenever you want it. I make them short, sharp, to the point. So they fill out the form. I know what it is. We turn up, we nail what needs doing, and we move on. So having those sort of things set up will help them with momentum. So think about this for you and your coaching. When I used to do online coaching, and because I had over 50 people at one point, I couldn't possibly speak to every single person all the time. So what I then had is a traffic light system where I had red, amber, and green. And they basically said if they were red, amber, or green. If they were green, I would just do their check-in, make it fast, move them on. If they're an amber, we figure out what it is that the problem is. If they're red, I get to them first. And again, it's enabling a system so that you can get to the people that need you right now and keep them moving, but you're not wasting the time with people that are crushing it and ready to move on to the next part. And there's no fluff, no stacking tons of value. It's just pure results. It's all about making sure that you're keeping people moving all the time. And then finally on here, we've got the guarantee. And my guarantee is very simple. If you show up and do the work, you will grow. But if you don't, and then I will keep coaching you until you are in a point where you are getting the results. But there's one thing that I can't do. I can't force you to show up, and you'll just stay the exact same, and that's all on you. And I have this as a guarantee because, look, it's very simple. And I don't need to put myself in a position different from what I needed from when I was growing. I needed the accountability, I needed the touch points, I needed the check-ins, I needed the knowledge, but actually the final thing that you need comes from yourself. And if you can't get yourself to a position where you actually get hold of your shit and complete the tasks that need completing, then maybe self-employed business isn't for you. And then we have finally Rule 5. So this is the offer laws. Now, within this, these are really important that you adapt your mentality to this. And it took me some time to do this, but you're not selling the delivery of something. You're selling the result. And again, at the start of the call, I mentioned this, but if you think about the delivery of how you're delivering something to somebody, that's not what they're paying for. Often they may use language that makes you think like that. And often you may use language without realizing that that's what you're aiming things towards. Like I say, people will sell online coaching. Online coaching is not what they want to buy. They want to buy the result that they get. If I said to you right now, I'm going to help you make £1 million, I'm pretty sure you would say you don't care how, whether I spend every day with you or ever I spend 1 minute with you. If we were going to earn £1 million in the next 60 days, and that was the goal, you probably go, I don't care how we do it. And that is exactly the same. People don't care as long as they get the result. So look, you're not selling a spreadsheet or a system. You're selling a life that comes from finally feeling in control. Time with your family, space to train, energy to enjoy what you have built. Then we've got the real and simple promises are easy to keep. Quite simply, I help people hit 10K months with 5 hours a day. And that's achievable, repeatable, and real. It's not 100K screenshots or fake Lambos or anything like that. Quite simply, it's what I have done and what I've helped lots of people do. I know it inside out and I know it's possible. The thing that comes with this is consistency and keep showing up, doing the stuff that matters. Because the reason that you are not at 10K months right now is because you probably don't have the systems in place, you don't have the consistency, you're not looking at data, and you're not treating your business like a professional business. And that is most likely what most people are, the position they're in. So look at when you're doing your offer, like, is it real and simple promises that you're able to keep? Instead of these drastic ones that you hear or see all the time where people are claiming big things, they get them through the door and everything flops because actually they couldn't get them that thing. So make them realistic and you will attract more people. Make offers and move the needle daily. This is a really simple one and so important to understand. You don't need to like hard sell. You don't need to keep putting offers out or discounts or anything like that, but you just need to keep showing people what is possible and how they can take the next step on your stories, on reels, DMs, and just being consistent. Because again, some people will often get to the point where they're making a couple of sales and then they'll calm everything down again. Your social media is your shop front. You need to constantly work on this. You need to constantly look at the data, look at what's working, look at what's not, change when you need to change, and adapt to what you're looking at. Put offers out every single day. And when I say offers, that's call to actions on your emails to get to your community. That's, say, like you've got a community on Skool, that is. Then you could say on emails, you could send them to a long form piece of content on YouTube. Again, on emails, you could do a direct one where I'm looking for 5 people who want to join my program over the next couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. You then could put stories up where you're asking questions and then putting offers out. You could DM people that you've chatted to before that you know that are warm people. We have on our system a hot list where we track it every single day. And we've got a list of all the people that we spoke to that seem warm and wanting what we have. And then we speak to them and work through those. These are all ways of putting offers out every single day. And most coaches are not actually doing that. And let's be honest, it's very simple. And then we've got simplify and clarify steps. So quite simply, your clients need to see the obvious, clear steps that they can take ahead. So this is why I have mine broken down into phase 1 is make money and build the systems. It's building the growth engine, but also making money as we're doing it so that they can claim back their investment. Then we go into phase 2, which is scaling and create the freedom, which is the end goal. But what you have to remember here is you're constantly building. It's not an overnight success. You have to put the reps in. You have to put the work in every single day. It's clear, direct, and easy to follow. And this is what I want you to look at for your business. How simple and clear are the steps for your clients to achieve, but also for your audience to understand what is next for them if they want to then take steps towards working with you. And this is the system that works every single week. For example, Ainsley, who is an ex-prison officer, she quit her job, which she was doing on a labouring job while she was still building up her fitness company. And she went full-time into her niche. Like, she was struggling for a while thinking, could I work with just prison officers? But hell yeah, that's what she is. And that's what she does, or what she did, sorry. And that's what she now does, and that's who she focuses on within the fitness industry. But we changed her offer and built the growth engine. And if you want to actually read it, there's her feedback here of what she made in the first few weeks. And then we've got James. James is actually still working full time. So this is an interesting one because he's super limited on the time and the effort that he can put in within the time. But all of a sudden, he has become an automated genius where he's built everything and he's automated. And he won't mind me saying, but he first told me that he thought school was a waste of time because it was overwhelming for him, thinking I've got to put all this in place. But once he's took the time, put it in place, now he sees it's part of the growth engine. It nurtures clients whilst you're sleeping ultimately. And he's now crushing it. But this is what happens when you build with purpose and not pressure. So, my friends, if you could take one thing from this, just remember that your offer isn't your product, it's you. You need to show exactly who you are You need to build your offer out. You need to make it clear to your market. You need to make your message clear. And you want to speak to that one person with that one problem, with that one solution of what you're going to get them. And you build everything around that. You need to show up consistently, and you need to actually be, I want to say, obsessed with your business. Because look, it's your baby, you started it, and I'm sure you want it to work. So you need to put the reps in every single day, regardless. I hope you got tons of value from that, because that was sick. I enjoyed it. And in the next part of the series, in series 3, I'm going to be going through the next stages of the growth engine. So that was sick. I loved it. I hope you got lots of value from it. And this is all about you and your offer. But in the next series, which is part 3, we are going to go through exactly how you can actually deliver. And this is the next key to you opening your business up to 10K months working 3 hours a day. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in part 3.